Welcome to the Chocolate Broadcast. Today we're talking about the Lanterns teaser trailer coming out early, basically. We'll be talking about my thoughts on Resident Evil 9. Scream 7 spoiler full review will be in this video. It probably won't be posted because I'm tired of talking about that film. And then we'll talk about my lore and why video gamers suck. So sit back, relax, grab you a little coffee, because it's coming out Saturday morning. Grab your little coffee, sit down by your girl. And yeah, relax, because this is going to be a long one. Alrighty, I don't know what episode this is. I really should probably start looking at that before I start recording. I had a free segment, Jesus, I'm so used to talking like I'm in the business or something. We're almost at 2,000 subs. That's nice, but we're not in it yet. Okay, but no, I had a free night tonight, so I'm recording this Wednesday instead of Thursday, which has happened the past 2 weeks in a row. So this might just be my new recording day. But I was like, I've got a free hour to kill. I said, let's go and do this. There's some stuff I want to talk about. I just got done getting pissed off. I'm trying to stop my language, but I'm going to be so serious with you, I might curse. I'm trying to calm myself down. So, just now, I guess I'll give you some background if you're new to the channel, because this is a podcast, so I don't know where you're listening from. You know me. I review movies. I used to review video games. I had a couple comments where people were like asking. Every now and then I'll have people like, "Oh man, what you playing?" Blah blah whatever. And I even like my friends they'll be like, "Oh man, you gonna review like even like Resident Evil?" It's like one of my favorite game franchises all the time. And like the fact I'm not gonna have a review for that is insane. And I'm debating about it. It's just I don't know, man. Like the reason why, and this is getting into the first topic. The reason why I don't review video games anymore is because gamers suck. I really would say they're at the top of my list of groups that I dislike. The main group is, not the main group. They're the main group, but like I will put them above Star Wars fans, but I also don't like Star Wars fans at all. So what pisses me off about gamers is that gamers are entitled. And this is funny. I'm a gamer, so I'm not saying it's just like talking shit. Like I am a gamer as well, as you can tell from looking at me. And my shelves, like if you look, like this is the like you can tell, right? And so, anyways, the main reason why I don't like it is because it really hit me because my first ever video on here is a game review. It's Cyberpunk 2077, the Phantom Liberty DLC, which I love so much. My first ever review on the channel 2 years ago from February, and so that was when I was like slowly putting videos out. Or whatever. That wasn't when I fully committed like I did last year. But that was still my first ever fully posted YouTube video, and it was a review on that. And so me and games go way back. I always talk to my channel people and tell them, like, I love video games more than I love movies. Like I do. And you would think that's insane as much as I go to the movies, as much as I talk about movies. But video games are my life. Like I would take video games over movies any day. If movie theaters completely went extinct, as long as video games still being made, as long as there's still Final Fantasies being made, as long as there's still Resident Evils being made, as long as Capcom's alive, as long as we still get our Mortal Kombats and stuff like that, as long as that stuff, now if all that stuff died, then I want movie theaters, of course, but as long as I can keep some of my franchises like the Silent Hills out there, even like the Pokemons, they got their problems, but like they're still fun to play every now and then. I want them, and it's me and video games go way back. I started out with nothing super old, but my first ever console was I almost said a DS. It was a Game Boy. Game Boy Advance was a little red one. Played Pokemon Fire Red on that thing, and fell in love with video games. Used to be a Nintendo guy from the Nintendo not Switch. I'm trying to think. I went to the Wii U, DS, DSi. And then after that, I never got a PlayStation until PS4. I had an Xbox One before that, and ironically, PlayStation's exclusives what maybe got that thing, because I remember I was like, oh, I really want to play this, or oh, I really want to play that, and I was like, Xbox doesn't have this game, especially like Last of Us and stuff. And this is kind of leading into the topic. So, I stopped because gamers are hurtful. Like I wasn't like getting bullied. I'm not a pussy, okay? But I try to spread positivity on my channel, and it just makes me so mad when gamers just act so fucking entitled. Like little bitches, you can tell they ain't getting none, okay? They probably ain't never talked to a girl in their fucking life. And you know, a lot of that is them listening to like modern day people. I pretty much strictly like listen to two gaming outlets. I listen to Skill Up Friends Per Second, which is basically the same thing, and then Kind of Funny and Stuff. And for the most part, I like Skill Up will review something bad every now and then. Kind of Funny, like, you know, especially with Greg lately, he'll give stuff lower scores than what you think, but it's never really overtly negative unless this game is just dog crap, right? And I like that because, and I'm not saying like being your own little bubble, but like it's nice knowing that, oh, we can love video games. Like I can play Tiny Bookshop, you know, what I can't remember, is it called Tiny Bookshop? I can play something like that on my Switch and just have like a blast on that instead of talking about it online and having people be like, "You're really playing that?" Yes, I really played that and really enjoyed it. It's a very good game. Because they think that like they have in their mind made up like what a video game's supposed to be and what it's not supposed to be. And what I mean by that is like something like Resident Evil 9, which is like breaking record sales, the biggest Resident Evil, like as far as like Steam numbers, stuff like that, whatever, insane numbers, right? Even something like that, something that good, right? I saw people online, which I know it's Twitter, but like I saw people on Twitter that were like they were literally just sitting there being so negative. They're like, "Oh, it's just like nostalgia slop," and I was like, people throw around that word slop so much. Like you had like hundreds of people work on this product. You're bringing Leon back, and like you've got like the hair follicles looking this good. The gameplay's good. The gameplay's fun. The horror elements are fun, and like you're gonna call it slop. That's what I mean by entitled. Like they probably couldn't fucking do anything if it wasn't for Chat GPT, and they have the nerve to talk about game developers like that. Even like lately, like it's gotten like the incel crowd has gotten so insane. Like if like even like that, like Grace in this game, apparently her tits aren't big enough, and I was like, what the fuck? And like that's what I mean by like they're clearly never been around a woman before. Like they think that like every woman in video games should like look like a bimbo and should have like Botox everywhere. And if she doesn't fucking look like that, then that means it's actually a woke agenda. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like they literally were like, oh my god, they're trying to like wokeify Resident Evil. And I was like, the same game that gave you Leon, who is the predominant protagonist. I would say you probably play as him a lot more than Grace, honestly, especially like Raccoon City areas. It's not like you play as him a lot more in this game. He is a strong, powerful white male. And they are still going, well, it's woke. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You can't win, dude. And so yeah, it all kind of started when I did my Doomy, no one said Eternal, is it whatever the news, Doom the Dark Ages, that's what it was. I did that review, I live streamed a little bit, that was kind of messed up, put it on Twitch, whatever, and we kind of stopped live streaming too. But like I reviewed that game, and I remember I was like, I like it, but I don't like it as much as Eternal. I feel like it was a downgrade from Eternal, and I gave it an 8.5 because I still loved it. When I tell you this, I know nobody heard the rest of my score or story. I can bet fucking money on it because every comment was so overtly negative to the point where people were literally like, "Oh my god, how like because one of the complaints I had was the story. I just thought was lackluster. Like the story's literally like the best part. Okay, to you, I'm just telling you what I feel. Oh my god, like the way they were acting, they act like I literally gave this game a 0 out of 10. I was like, 8.5 is a good fucking score. Like that on a test, that's an 85. That's almost a 90. That's really good. And you would have thought I shot their fucking dog. You would have thought I did. And so tonight I put out a Stream 7 short. I was gonna put out more, but I didn't like the way the other shorts were, so I just put out one. It's been long. I should have put out those last week when I did the video. I messed up on that, and I had 3 videos to put out today. I put out a Pixel and Popcorn on Upgrade, and I put out my full reviews of Hijack Season 2 and School Spirit Season 3, because they both ended technically today. Hijack would have been Tuesday night at 8, but for most people would have been Wednesday. And so I was like, let me put those all these out. And I put out that short, and it started getting some traction. Like actually, like I said, about 10 minutes before I recorded this video for the podcast, there was this guy who was like, sorry, bro. And I'm going to put the comment up here. Like, I don't care. And he was like, you really lost me at having Last of Us Part 2 in the background. And I'm just like, are we really at that now? Like, you have gamers, these grown fucking men, adults, bills, taxes, jobs. Some of them are not in, some of them have kids, some of them have wives, and they're online. Okay, they're listening to a movie review about Scream 7. Okay, a movie review. Nothing to do about games. And he goes, huh. He looks up and he goes, oh, he got Ghost of Tsushima, Samurai Jack, Persona 5, Expedition 33, God of War, like about 1,000 other games, in his background. I'm gonna lock in on Last of Us Part 2 because I hate it and I probably think it's woke garbage. I'm just like, why are we just like, that's what I mean about negativity in the gaming space. Like, why are we just choosing to be overtly negative? Okay, you don't like Last of Us Part 2? What about Ghost of Tsushima? Like, why not be like, oh man, really like your collection, blah, blah, love Ghost of Tsushima. And he could have hated Last of Us 2, didn't have to say nothing. Like, it's just so overtly negative. If you talk good about a game, somebody's gonna be like, oh, you like that woke slop? You talk bad about a game and go, oh, it's just all right, whatever, this and that, whatever. All of a sudden, you're just a shield. You're just, this and that. Like, fuck off. Fuck off. I can't do that, man. That actually set the tone for this podcast, pissed me off. I saw that comment and I was like, what? I was like, I'm talking about screams, nothing to do with Last of Us Part 2. It's literally only sitting there because I have no room for this big ass box. And it also makes me mad because nobody knows the context, right? Like, what if somebody gifted me that? Like, what if I'm just a big fan of Ellie as the character and I just want that box? Like, what if I don't like the game? Like, you don't know the context, anything. It's just commenting, just pisses me off. I'm going to leave that there. I don't want this to be the whole podcast. This shit pisses me off. Since we are on the topic of games, we'll get to Lanterns and all them later in the show. I do want to take a time to talk about the sponsor. I'm just playing. You thought I had a sponsor? I ain't got no damn sponsor. I ain't got no sponsor. Oh, shit. I don't know why that made me laugh. I wish I had one. Anyways, let's talk about Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Yeah, I didn't know that Requiem was the big ass revolver that Leon and them have in the game. I thought it was kind of cool. But anyways, so this game is awesome. That's what I have to say. It's awesome. I have now completed it 3 times. Well, technically 2 times. I'm on my third replay. I'm almost done with the third time. It is very addicting. It is very fun. I would actually say that my only complaints, because I've got a couple, even though I damn near think it's a perfect game, is I think that there's a couple of necessary things. Not like a lot of other Resident Evils, like, like what I mean, like where it's like, okay, we got to go to the dollhouse, and even though that scene's creepy in Resident Evil 8, it's like I feel like this is so extra. Like our stuff feels padded on, kind of right. And I love those games too, but I feel like for example, there's a section in this game. It's not that long, but it still feels like okay, we could have cut that where you play as this little girl, very kind of like a Mary Jane-esque section. It's not bad like those, but you play as this little girl at one point towards the end of the game. And you're doing all this hiding, this, that, whatever. And I swear this segment goes on for 20-something minutes, maybe. It could be a little bit less, but it's about 20-something minutes. And stuff like that, I'm like, okay, you could have showed me this cutscene. I didn't, especially the way that ends, too. I was like, okay, this could have been a cutscene. I didn't need to play that. And I feel like there was the game trying to be like, okay, we want to add a horror element in here because it's been a while since you played as Grace. I also think that the opening Grace segment, while I love it, on replays, it's getting kind of tedious. And what I mean by that is that Leon, he's got the fun combat, kind of got the fun story of going to RPD, he's trying to say Grace, stuff like that. You got all kinds of crazy stuff going on, which I'm not going to spoil, but you got all kinds of crazy stuff happening, and him reliving stuff, and them having flashbacks to Resident Evil 2, and all kind of cool stuff like that, right? Bunch of callbacks, hey, nostalgia slop, like that one guy said. but no, in all seriousness, it's really, really well done, but I feel like Grace's first of it, and it could just be because maybe the first couple times I played it, I was a little bit slower at it, but I just feel like that goes on for so long because you they let you play as Leon twice in between her sections, and the Leon gameplay at one point you do a boss, whatever, you go up in this room and then you play as Grace again. The first time you're chasing after Grace in traffic and you do this really cool combat that you play as Grace. And so it feels very quick the first couple times you play as Leon. It feels very clearly fast paced and stuff like that, much like his combat. And I just feel like when you get the Grace, it almost just kind of drastically stops it, because the first two times you play as Grace are really great. The horror elements are really good. You're doing all this investigate, and you're getting cutscenes and stuff, whatever. It's very, very, very good. But and it's all good. When I'm saying this, and that's, I don't care if you comment. This ain't about that earlier. But I just feel like while it's all good, there are a lot of times where when I'm playing as Grace, like for example, like when you're after the girl, I'm gonna tiptoe over this. I'm not gonna try to spoil it. But like when you're like fighting the girl, like the big old creature they've been advertising, or whatever. When you do like that first chase of the girl, right? When you do the first one, very, very good horror, very good, whatever. And you're basically running around this whole facility doing all these puzzles, this and that, whatever. And then you play as Leon, and then vice versa. You get into like this other area with the girl, and that's where I feel like, okay, maybe this should have been combined, or this should have been cut. I know that people complain about the game being short, anyways, but just me personally, I just feel like that's where it gets really like, okay, because you're basically doing the same thing again. You're doing all this hide, and you have to collect stuff, and Grace isn't like Leon, so like she's moving slower. It just feels like it kind of slows down the game a lot. But outside of that, I still think this is either a top three, maybe top four Resident Evil game for me. Now I am new blood, so I don't want to get hate for this, but I still think my favorite one is RE2 Remake. I really just love the changes they did to that. I think that is probably the superior game, and also is my first one. You never forget your first. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Resident Evil 9. I don't want to say anything else. I don't want to spoil anything else. But I think they kind of like blend the perfect blend of like that or not sci-fi horror. I guess it is kind of sci-fi technically in a way. So we'll just say that sci-fi horror and like that camp and also cool action, like John Wicky Leon type. And I think they blend it all really, really well for the most part. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed the game. I think it's awesome. I guess final score, because I probably won't review this, I would probably give it a 9.5. I'm you know what, 9.5 critic score. Personally, I'm giving it a 10, even with those complaints, just because there's a high chance that'll be my game of the year this year. I know a lot of people say GTA 6, GTA 6. Now, I will say this: if GTA 6 is as fun as it looks, I'm going to be one of those people, because even like that, I'm not a follower either. Like I hate those people that are like, well, everybody liked this, so that means they got to hate on it. It's not whatever. No, if GTA 6 is as good as it looks, and it does come out this year, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's my game of the year. I'm not gonna be one of them folks. But yeah, just in case it's not, there, like even at the least, I feel like Resident Evil will be number 2 or 3. I don't really see much coming out where I go, that's better than that. It's a very good experience. But yeah, with that, I guess we can pivot and talk movie stuff. Lanterns, I don't have a whole lot to say compared to Scream 7, so we'll talk about Lanterns next. So, Lanterns is the DCU's. How many projects is this? We've got Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker. Wait, hold on. Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker. I knew I was forgetting one. Supergirl. Yes, Supergirl is before this. So this will be our fifth. By the time we get this in August, this will be our 5th project release, because Supergirl's in June. I think the 26th, something like that. I am very, very excited for this show. They say True Detective vibes. Comic book readers, very similar to gamers, they're gonna be mad at anything that you do. And so they're mad about that. I'm excited for it. I'm not super duper excited after this trailer, even though I am, if that makes any sense. So the trailer got me really excited to watch a damn good show, a really great HBO show, a really great drama, a really great character study, a really great, True Detective, like literally detective show. Got me excited for that. The show did not get me excited for Green Lantern shit. Now, I get this is a teaser trailer, quote unquote, even though we've already got multiple teasers before, and 2 of them were the same. With that being the case, I get that they don't want to show all the Green Lantern power stuff, and it looks like Hal Jordan's gonna be doing a lot of it, like a lot of heavy lifting at the beginning. But I just don't like the colors. I hate to be that guy, but I don't, man. Like Supergirl, that's kind of my problem with that trailer, is that you look at like the Woman Tomorrow comic, which ironically my tripod is sitting above right now recording. The Woman Tomorrow comic is so bright, it's so colorful. You got all these crazy worlds and planets and this and that. Like Supergirl, like even like on the front right here, holding like a sword, and like she's like the red and blue, and like there's pinks and blah. It's all this pop. And, like you watch the trailer, and once again, they're only on one planet on this trailer, but it just looks so bland. Like I was like, dude, like people always talk Guardians of the Galaxy comparisons. I don't think the vibe is that necessarily. I just think the way the planet looks was kind of giving me that vibe of like nowhere. Um, and so I hope to be proven wrong on that, but it's just one of those things where I'm not expecting everything to be like Superman, because I know James Gunn didn't do it every project in here, but I just expected, Creature Commando is very colorful, and James Gunn did Superman, and he also did Peacemaker season 1 and 2, and so all that stuff has its style and flair, and I was excited to see other directors have their own style and flair, kind of like with Supergirl, kind of like with Clayface into this year, kind of like with Lanterns coming up. But at the same time, I want their style, but I still want that cinematographer. Like, I get they can't get the same person, but like I need like the same VFX shots. I need like the same everything else, because unless it's like Clayface, where it's probably supposed to be really dark, gritty, whatever. And I get this is dark and gritty, but like your Green Lantern and like our green that I'm seeing is like really bland. It's like that grass green, like faded grass, like out in the summer. That's like what the costume looked like. And I'm just like, damn, like, no, I don't know. That's my only complaint. I actually think the show looks really great. I love Aaron Pierre. I love Kyle Chandler. The show looks great, looks awesome. I think the Green Lantern lore stuff's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be a good show. They kind of like, I don't know if they spoiled it or if they just fucked up and they just revealed it, but I'm pretty sure this show takes place before not Green Lantern, but Superman, because Hal Jordan makes a statement and says that he is the only human Green Lantern, I guess, outside of now Aaron Pierre. But we already know that Guy Gardner exists, so it makes me wonder if I'm just assuming based on that dialogue that it takes place before all this stuff, and maybe this is just leading up to an origin of John Stewart getting the ring and like becoming Green Lantern and stuff like that, whatever. And then next time, like maybe a Man of Tomorrow, maybe he's in that, and we see him, and it's like, okay, well now you know his origin from that show. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I know a lot of people have speculation that Hal Jordan's gonna be killed. I don't know if he's going to be killed, but I feel like he's going to at least retire. He probably is not going to hardly be seen again, if ever. But I hope it's not death. But if they're going True Detective route and they're going more dark, gritty, I could see them doing that. But those are my thoughts on Lanterns. Very, very excited. All right. As I started thinking about what I was talking about next, it really kind of hurt my soul after talking about Scream 7. I hate that I put this on the calendar. I get it's my podcast. I can talk about whatever. But I said I was going to do it, and so I'm going to do it. Oh, God, I'm getting tired. So, Scream 7, I have a lot of issues with. I don't think I'm going to recap the movie like I was going to. I don't feel like going through that much bullshit with that film. And by the way, spoilers for Scream 7, just let you know. Sidney Prescott, and I know there was a lot of controversy. I talked about this last week on a podcast with her coming back, blah, blah, whatever. I'm like, just remove the controversy aside. I think it's just dumb Nev even came back anyways. But all right, personally, like I get she needed money, but like imagine somebody be like, "Oh, we don't fucking need you for the 6th one," then they come begging for the 7th one. You're like, okay, just give me some more money. Like it's like, no, fuck them. She should have said no. Then I'd have been fucked, but she didn't, of course. I think the opening scene of the film with the couple getting killed is really gory, really cool. And I'll kind of give a brief recap of like lead up to like where the film dropped me. The film first dropped me when McKenna Grace died at the beginning of the film, where she gets cut up and like the knife, like it's like butter and like cuts her insides open. And I was like, damn, I said, it's getting really gory. Then I realized like, wait, McKenna Grace died. Okay. And the film really started letting me down with these deaths, not because they weren't gory. They were cool. Ghostface is awesome. I have a problem with him personally in this film, except for the reveal. My problem with it is that every character that you kind of like or could have liked or needed to like, they fucking died. By the end of this film, every single friend of Tatum, even her boyfriend, they are all dead. And so even like that, like I'm not being one of those people that's like, oh, well, what about sequels? That's how I'm reviewing it. No, I could care less. But like, now that we do know there is like an 8th one that they're filming this fall, like how the fuck does that work? Just like new crew and then they're all gonna die. Like it's like I feel like part of Scream's charm was that you had like the Dewey, you had the Gale out there, right? And like the new one, like 5 and 6, like you had the core four of like Chad, Mindy, Sam, and Tara and stuff like that. And like in this new one, it's like, okay, I didn't like anybody that you gave me, but then the people that you did give me, they're dead. So it's like even like McKenna Grace, she was kind of nice. She had a little bit of charm to her, Once again, McKenna Grace, I'm already kind of like biased, like in the notion of I like her as an actress and as a person and blah blah, and I just think she's really funny, quirky, and whatever. And then like when you saw her die so quickly, I was like, okay, like even like that, the black girl, I can't think of her name because everybody's forgettable in this film, but she started getting unforgettable. Like she started literally getting to be memorable. She started to be fun, and I was like, oh my god. Then she died. The boyfriend, I wasn't trusting him. I was like, even if I do trust him, I don't like him. Then when he grew on me, he died. It's like I just don't understand how you can make a film so bad, because now we're going to get to the reveal and the Scream kill that I thought was stupid. So Sydney's husband, this is before the reveal, he gets attacked badly. Like he gets stabbed probably 30 fucking times in the stomach and chest. And this is at probably 10, anywhere from like 10 to 12 in the morning. Okay. 10 a.m. to noon. The reveal stuff comes out like later on at night. Cause I think they say curfew's like at 6 or 8 or some shit. So like just basically imagine it looks like it's 10 o'clock, but it's probably 8 or 9. That's a long time to be sitting there bleeding out. You're dead. Being stabbed at me, you're dead. He got stabbed a lot. He's dead. No, they reveal that they kick him and he's, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like this is worse than the Chad thing. Cause like at least when Chad got stabbed in Scream 6 like 30 times and like, and Dewey and them got stabbed in Scream 2, like at least the ambulance immediately was kind of there. Like the fights were like 5 minutes later. Then like they got there and I was like, he was bleeding on the ground 5 minutes. I was like, I've seen crazier shit in real life. Like sure. But like, no, this man bled out for at least 12 good hours. And then he just like, I'm here. And I'm like, fuck you. There's no way. And then the reveal of the neighbor I felt was obvious. And I also called the janitor guy because of course it was the janitor, because the janitor guy specifically was like, yes, Stu was friends with that guy who killed your friends and that you caught. And I was like, of course you said all this shit. Like, it's so obvious it was him. And the neighbor I picked up on because I was like, okay, well, if the friends were all dying off, like halfway through the film, I was like, okay, who else have we not seen in a while? Probably the neighbor. And I was right. And then I was like, okay, cool. I like Homegirl. This is going to be kind of funny. And then her reasoning behind it was awful. Dog shit. And I was just like, man, you really fucked up this third act. And you fucked up the end of the second act. If they could have kept the momentum, even if they would have kept it just for the end of the second act into the third, and the third still would have been bad, I probably would still give it a point higher. Like, this is insane. Like, they just dropped so bad. The finale's bad. The one-liner's bad. People are like, I was like 10 out of 10. No, it's not. There's no way you saw this and was like, man, that's a really good Scream movie. It didn't even feel like Scream. It had like a big identity problem. Like it did not feel like a Scream film. I felt like I was watching a fucking cosplay of some. Like it felt weird. And yeah, I'm done talking about Scream. I'm fucking tired of this franchise. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm gonna be there for 8 because I'm a greedy bitch when it comes to horror films. But yeah, let's just say I need a break. Next year, we're not doing a rewatch. I'm not going through this hell again. I'm not watching 7 again for a while. Alrighty, so we are talking my lore. It's time. I hope that you're ready. Let's get it. Let's go. So, how did I get into the reviewing business? I don't know why I want to call it making no money. How did I get into being a reviewer? So, basically, I worked at a movie theater that was hell, and I'm going to get into all that stuff. But long story short, I started because we would screen films. So for example, this week, right, The Bride comes out. Today's Wednesday, I record this. Wednesday at midnight, we probably would have stayed up. We would have got off work at 8 something. We probably would have hung out until like 10 or whatever, and we probably would have went and got food and either ate it and talked and hung out or whatever, or we would have, we might would have waited till Thursday too. We do that sometimes. We're like, we get off at 8 o'clock, we go get food, we come back, open up the theater, set the alarm and stuff like that, and then we would like go into like, let's say like theater 5, like you call film tech. The shit was so awesome, and we'd be like, oh man, like, oh, can you start The Bride in theater 5, and can you skip trailers? And sometimes we watch trailers, this and that, and the dude would be like, he'd be like, you got it, and then it would start The Bride up in there, and like we watch it. It was so fun, dude. But yeah, like I would watch movies like that early, and I would do like little mini videos on my Snapchat, and that turned into like the bigger videos. That turned into me doing game reviews. It turned into me doing all kinds of stuff. And I'll never forget that, a bunch of my friends were like, oh yeah, like why don't you do it on YouTube? And people have been trying to get me on YouTube for like years. Like I was like doing this shit on Snapchat for love of the game. If I'd have started YouTube back then, I probably would be at way more subscribers by now. I just kept like pussying out. Like, I kept sitting there going, oh man, I can't do that. It's a little scary. I was like, comments gonna be awful, which like outside of like today, they're mainly tame. And I just kept thinking like the words because I was thinking about what I was seeing, right? Um, and yeah, I was like, who wants to hear from me talk about movies and stuff like that, even though I see them all the time or whatever. And then long story short, I didn't work there for a while, which is, or I don't work currently. I don't know why I put it like that, but I stopped working there. And basically I stopped working there for a bunch of reasons I want to get to soon, but that's kind of when the channel slowed down a lot, especially when I first started, because I think it was that April, like I started like that February 2 years ago in 2024, and I'm pretty sure it was that April that like I stopped working there, and so like I wasn't seeing new movies for a while, and like it was like 2 month gaps between reviews. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, I saw this, and here's a video on it, and yeah, it just was a big thing. Um, and now here we are. And so now let's get into my life at the movie theater. I wasn't a phone a friend, but I think my friends are working. They have nighttime jobs, big boy jobs. And so yeah. Basically, start working this theater. I'm not gonna get the theater name, but it's a movie theater. So if you work there, it was hell. Start working this movie theater in 20, was it 2020? I think it was, yeah, it was like right before COVID, right? We'll just say that. I think it was 2020, right before COVID. And I remember I ended up getting the job, and I was working there, and I'll never forget what movies it was either. It was when was it Bloodshot? It wasn't Bloodsport. That's DC. It was Bloodshot. It was Bloodshot, the Vin Diesel movie. Where at the Powers, it was I Still Believe, and I think that it was The Hunt. Yes, it was The Hunt. Those were like the three, um, you know, movies that were playing at the time, and we got in for free. Like if you brought plus one, whatever it is that. So I brought my mom and my sister, and we went and saw that. And this is like, mind you, like maybe like a month and a half me working there, maybe 2 months, right? And I remember I came out there, and the people that I worked there with, the managers that were staying late that night or whatever, they had on their masks, and I was like, oh shit, and like they were talking to us about what was going on, and how like now they've gotten wind of gotta shut down stuff, and like gotta do this, that, whatever, and like even like popcorn buckets, like they weren't giving people refills, like they were, but like they were like throwing the bucket away, and then after they were throwing the bucket away, they were getting the bucket, like a new bucket, and give that to them and stuff, because it was like that serious, like we're not touching it. And so I remember we ended up leaving for the night, and like, I got a call the next morning, might have been a text, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like we're furloughing everybody, we're shutting down the theater for a while, blah blah whatever, because of COVID." And I was like, "Oh shit." And so I ended up, I fuck, how long was I off? I feel like it was from, I don't remember what month COVID started. I don't remember when the hunt. That feels like those feel like February or March films. I feel like that was February. So if I got furloughed February, I don't think I started work until October again, maybe November of that same year. And a lot of that was because I was kind of calling because I was like, "Oh, what's up?" Now, COVID was a funny story for me. We'll dive into this real quickly. I fucking loved it. I'm not a big people person. If you knew me in real life, if you're listening to this and you don't know me, you probably know that. I like talking to people. I make small talk with you all day long. But yeah, I'm one of those. Like I just want me, myself, and I. I want to sit down, read a good book. I want to sit down, play a good video game, or watch a good movie or something like that. And I don't want to I don't want to do anything else. Like like I mean that's like they call it back in the day, fat and lazy. But it's not really that though. It's just that I'm never the guy like for example, it affected a lot of my friends. Like I don't go and drink. I don't go and party. I don't go like I'm not pulling up to somebody's house to go, oh man, pull it up. Like I don't do that shit. I feel like I'm kind of normal in that aspect, but like I don't do that. Like if I'm leaving the house, I'm leaving the house to do something. Like oh we've got okay like going to the store right, or like I'm leaving the house to go watch movies on the weekend or to go buy something. Like I'll walk outside and slow that, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm not the type of person that's been like, well, I'm bored. Let me go hit up the bar. Like, no, like if I'm bored, I can open up a good book. I can go do some research on something and like maybe educate myself, learn something. Like, I'm that type of person, right? Um, Especially like when I was in school and stuff like that, up until last year I'm the type of person where I was like, okay, there's always something I could study, there's always something I could do, right? And so COVID, because even like that, even though they did online schools, they even shut that stuff down for a while. So everything kind of like sucked. I remember, but yeah, like I was sitting over there and I was just chilling, living my best life, dude. Like that was when I finally locked in and played Persona 5 Royal. And I remember like Luigi's Mansion 3, like I was getting all the new games, even like that. The Last was 2. I was getting a bunch of this stuff and like I was just playing this stuff and eating it up and just eating it up and just having a grand old time. I think I pre-ordered my PS5 during that time and stuff. Um, and I just had a great time. I mean, that's sad to say. I know a lot of people are like, but like I just never understood that, and I don't want to get into that too much into COVID or whatever. But I just remember people were like so pissed off, like, I can't go outside and do nothing. It's like just walk outside your house, like just take it in and just like look at the trees and just go, man, like I have a purpose here, right? And like like spend time with your family. Like I was so close with my family like at that time and this and that. And like I don't know, like I just had like a surreal experience. Like people were so pissed off. They were like, I can't go drink. Like I saw so many posts like that. It pissed me off. Like people were like, is the when they gonna open up that bar? When they gonna open up this restaurant? And I'm like, it's just chill, dude. Like it just chill. I was having such a good time, dude. I was catching one back while I was replaying Uncharted. Like, man. Anyways, stop reminiscing about that. I had too much of a good time. But yeah, caught up on reading, caught up on this. I've never been so caught up in my life. There was towards the end of it, I did start getting bored. I was like, damn, I'm done. I've backlog is complete. But yes, so I ended up going back to the theaters later on that year. I think that fall. And it was me and this other girl that was working there. And this other girl, me and her now have a history because she's an awful person. And by awful person is that even you probably heard that story about the COVID stuff. You're probably that's the laziest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life with his big ass. No, I just like I said, like to have, be with myself, be by myself, whatever. And I just enjoyed that. It felt like some time off, some much needed vacation, some R&R. But when it comes to work, I'm gonna work, right? I cannot stand a lazy bastard, and I cannot stand people that are just basically kind of like those, like especially like down where I live. Okay, in the area where I live, most of the jobs, it's basically just a culmination of bosses, getting a job and I guess they're working their ass off, but then like once they get to like the top, they just go okay, and they just stop. You don't stop work. You got to work harder than everybody else. You hit the top. They don't see that as that. They don't. They think that when you get up to the top, that you're done and you should get a paycheck and you don't have to work. And so like at the theater I was at, like management supervisors, like they didn't do anything. They would be in the back and they wouldn't do a fucking thing. The amount of times like we have like a line of people for like a movie or something like that, like Spider-Man No Way Home came out, for example, and like my manager's nowhere to be seen, right? And she's calling about, oh my god, our head boss, our head manager, sending people home, and I was like, bitch, Spider-Man No Way Home came out. You're not anywhere to be seen. What are you talking about sending people home? Sending all the ushers home except for one. So you're gonna make this poor girl stay and clean up all this shit because she came in last because you scheduled her that way. And so then I'm helping her, my other manager's helping her, and it's just awful, dude. And so cut to let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to that one girl. So she was a supervisor. Realized how lazy she was. Me and her worked together a lot, and she would just be in the back, and she would just be, reading a book. One day, I cut on the intercom thing. Was there like a phone outside in like the lobby, and I was trying to talk to her, and I asked her something, and she didn't even hear me because all that was playing was like I think it was CSI or no, it was Law and Order, some bullshit, just blaring out of speaker. And I was like, that's all she did was just sit back there and like read books and do that, and never help do anything, right? And so I started kind of getting a vendetta with that because this was like my first real job, like right out of high school, and so this was one of those things where I started realizing the type of person I want to be, the type of man I want to be based on other people's work ethics at this job. Because, um, which I'm going to get into that. I got treated like shit here. A lot of it you're going to hear was a lot of racial profiling straight up. And the fact that nothing was done is still insane. I tried to get that handled with whatever, but we'll get into that. But anyways, fast forward a little bit. Basically, damn, I didn't realize it kind of touched a nerve here because I'm going in. I'm just might as well go. Let's get into the lore, the movie theater lore, how awful it was. So, basically, I'm trying to remember like big key stories. Some of it's kind of faded out of my memory, but I'll start the good now. So, most of my current friends, I guess I'll say all of them really, are people I worked with there. One of them was the assistant manager. Me and him are really tight, or at least I think so for the most part. Sometimes this motherfucker will say the most insane shit, and I'm like, either he didn't realize that he just said that or whatever. God bless him. But yeah, everybody else just really cool, really chill, really cool, and like I said, we're all really like kind of like a family. That's how it was there. And I remember those screenings, like Top Gun Maverick. Like I remember we were going because we had a Blu-ray player hooked up to the theater. We were going to play Top Gun 1, and I remember everybody went on and came for it for some reason. Everybody came for it. I think I was like, oh, everybody needs to show up because that's the thing. Me and the other manager, the assistant manager, like me and him, they're friends. I was talking about. We loved movies and we always want to screen movies and we always want to watch movies, but like everybody else, even though they worked at this movie theater, they didn't fucking like movies at all, and they could have cared less. What do you mean you can watch the brand new Spider-Man early? Like, what do you mean you can watch? Like, even like when Shang-Chi stuff came out, it was like three of us. I was like, what do you mean like this new stuff is out and like you can watch it early, like on Wednesdays or even like that? Sometimes Marvel movies open up on Tuesday mornings, like Tuesday night we screen. And I just like they did not care. Like they really did not care. They just didn't want to watch anything or do anything. And so I somehow persuaded them all somehow to watch Top Gun Maverick. Okay. And so long story short, that they didn't stay for Top Gun. They left. They got bored. They went outside and were hoeing out in the parking lot. A bunch of the women were throwing ass. Yes, they were throwing ass. So I was like, this. It's like you were so bored in this movie, you were like, let's go throw ass and make a TikToks, whatever this and that. We called on Bennett and watched Top Gun Maverick. And even though they had no context of the first film, I'm talking about best screening of my life. We were all screaming and hollering. Like when we saw Rooster go down, we thought he almost died. Like that movie was surreal. That was probably the best screening we had. There was also one night that we wanted to screen Nope, but it unlocked it Wednesday, so we had to do it at midnight, of course, since it unlocked Wednesday. If anything unlocked Wednesday, it was at midnight. If it unlocked Actually, everything unlocked Wednesday at midnight, but sometimes you would have something like a Black Widow or Shang-Chi or Spider-Man that unlocked Tuesday at 8 a.m., which means we would just watch it after our shift Tuesday night. And in the case of Spider-Man, I believe we watched it Monday at midnight because it was going to unlock at midnight that night, and so it was a crazy day. But for that film for Nope, we played D&D, and like it was just fun because we had such a diverse group of people. Like for example, there was one person, like for example, like you would call like one like the cheerleader or like the jock or this and that. Like it was very very diverse like that, right? And the fact that we all came together to play D&D and go watch Nope was awesome. Um, we found out that none of the other branches did counts every day. I guess it came directly from her, and I was like, "Does she think somebody's gonna steal a fucking plastic cup?" Like we literally counted inventory every day. Like I swear to God, we could have a day where we sold like 10 combos, and she would still make us count this shit. And so then the racism started to come out because everybody told me everything. I was like the fucking grandfather there. Everybody came for me for advice, this and that, whatever. I was like everybody's fucking dad. And I'll never forget, like, if she was around you long enough, she trusts you, she would talk so much shit. Apparently, she talked shit about me the most. She didn't like me, so I'll never forget. Apparently, when I got promoted, it was up to my assistant manager and her, and she told him that because apparently even like that. So we got a girl that started working there a month before I got promoted to manager. I was supervisor at the time. I've been supervisor about 6 months, and she had told this girl, she had told her, like they had been playing Pokemon, they had been relating to stuff, and this girl was nasty. Like I'm talking about like baloney burps and like this and that. But because they had bonded on fucking Pokemon, I swear to God, even though this girl had only been working there 3 fucking weeks, that's who she wanted to promote over me. She wanted to skip supervisor and put her in management. I said, "What is this racist shit?" And mind you, I'm not sugarcoating either. Everybody's got their faults, but I was a damn good manager. I literally worked almost every single day. If I wanted a day off, she would act like it was a problem. But even like that, I still worked more than her. Which was to get 40-hour work weeks, especially like when you're supervisor manager full time. And I would get like over 40. Like my checks would be like I would literally somehow 50 something plus hours, almost 60 some hours, whatever this and that. I worked literally more than her. Like I said, there were so many times like where I'd do that and I'd work till 1 a.m. and then have like basically get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep and had to get right up to go work a kid's show and then have to work till 1 a.m. that night. And then my first day off finally is like a Sunday. And I'd feel like shit because she didn't want to work because she was lazy. And this same woman saw me doing shit like that, going above and beyond, and had the fucking audacity to actually want to put some baloney burping, Pokemon loving bitch who had only been there 3 fucking weeks in a management position. Tell me that's not racism. Tell me it's not. No experience. I'm not. I would even give her that if she has no experience, none. I think it was also her first job. This is fucking crazy. It's just insane to me to know that that happened. But yeah, we're gonna go in and cut it there. We've been recording a little bit over an hour now. This was the Chocolate Broadcast. Next week, I don't know what we're gonna talk about. But that's my lore dump. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Hope that you guys love that. Like and subscribe. And I'm gonna go contemplate about my life because Jesus Christ, reliving that was awful. And I love you guys. Peace.